Welcome to SerialPodcastNine.
This is going poorly. Let's start the episode. All right, let's go.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kevin Peterson.
Gerard Peralta.
And I'm Ryan Benoit, and this is SerialPodcastNine.
And I apologize for my audio in the past episodes, and I'm hoping that this episode I don't sound like complete garbage.
The easy way. We'll start from the easy questions, but also interesting. All right. Righteous Garage reached out to us.
Nice.
Wow. Very excited. This is a good one. I like. All right. He said, just listening through the recent podcast and your music analogy. So at one point I was drunk and made a music analogy. They said, you guys should take some time and have everyone name their top 5 favorite bands. And then they wrote, haha, because we all know if car guys didn't come from skateboarding / BMX, good chance they came from local metal bands. Who wants to go first?
Top 5? I don't have a top 5, man. I can't.
Yeah, man. It feels like that's like a hard thing because
I wanted to give you guys a run up to it, but I know. Take some time and I'll just cut out all the banter. I'll keep the banter, but
I mean, honestly, it's not. I don't have a top 5, man. I have a playlist that I just listen to a bunch of like other stuff. I'm always searching for new music, so it's kind of like the top 5 right now is probably the 5 of the 50,000 songs I listened to in the last 2 days.
I thought you really liked ABBA.
I mean, of course I like ABBA, but I mean, it's not in my top 5.
That's not an of course. It's not like a given that everybody likes ABBA. Like
I know, but
you said it to me once.
Say top 5, like
But like you did tell me once that it was your favorite. Maybe that day it was. I don't know.
Well, I mean, ABBA's dope, man. Like,
well, then just put it in your top 5.
Okay, it makes no sense.
It's the only.
I don't listen to ABBA on the regular. You know what I mean? I love ABBA. Fine. I appreciate ABBA. I've listened to a ton of ABBA, but like, it's not like I'm going in my car and bumping ABBA today. Although, I mean, there was a remix recently of an ABBA song that I was like, yo, this is sick.
Yeah, it's fine to say you like ABBA. They're a band. A lot of the other, because here's the thing: if we're going to be very technical, you can't name a bunch of like hip hop or like R&B or like.
Well, I mean,
why not?
Because they're not bands. It's if it's a
okay.
person,
I mean, I think you're getting lost.
Okay, yeah, like
question.
Yeah, like I like the Beatles and I like the Monkees and I like the Rolling Stones and any other of those like terrible artists that I hate because they're a band.
Okay, fine.
Come on, you like some 41 and Alexis on fire. Come on.
Yo, like is Alexis
Kevin.
on fire? Yo, My Chemical Romance.
Oof. We're all gonna
why
go
don't you
to
just
that
say like the
music
top
festival.
5 music or top 5 types of music or top 5? I don't even know. Like I can't give you
I thought long and hard about my top favorite bands.
Well, I mean, according to my Spotify wrap up, I was like the 0.5% listening to Paul Wall. So I got to say Paul Wall, I guess. I guess I listened to so much Paul Wall. So there you go.
I'm gonna open my computer and I'm gonna look at. It's not gonna tell me anything, man. Yeah, there's no SoundCloud wrap up because they're like, yo, that shit's stupid. That's why.
I don't understand why you can't just say ABBA. You clearly really like ABBA.
Can't admit it, bro.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, fine. Put ABBA. That's fine.
But we'll put them at number 5. What's your favorite ABBA song?
Oh man, I don't know, dude. I haven't listened.
Dancing.
No. I don't rate music like that, man. Like I don't even have like a favorite song. Like, you know what I mean? And like there's different time periods in my life. Like, dude.
Oh, that's a good jam, man. Jody got
it's
married.
not, dude.
I hate
it's
that
totally not
so
a good
much.
jam.
I don't know why you guys just don't want to wake up the neighborhood with Bryan Adams. You all got loud ass cars.
What's that
and
Journey
you don't
song
like,
too?
That, like, don't stop believing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. That's just
that song's better.
Music.
That song's better.
What? No,
really? Those songs are equally bad.
You don't like Bryan Adams is goddamn Canadian.
Okay, I mean,
isn't the lead singer of Journey Filipino?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
is
why
Gerard's
it's kind of crazy,
number 4
right?
now.
Get that. Oh, your
We should
insights.
we should totally do a top 10, but like I feel like a top 5 or top 10 like this, like you need to ask us ahead of time so that we
No, I know.
the same way that you were
I
like,
thought
yeah, I
about
thought
it.
about this for a long time and I have a
I
great
did
answer.
think
And
about
it's
it.
just like,
Yeah. I did think, I was like, I should tell them, but I'm like, or is it funnier to go through this? And I didn't really know.
I mean, I'd probably also have to say Daft Punk. I like
Ooh, yeah, okay,
consistently
good.
listen to a lot of Daft Punk, I would say.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like Kevin, like you'll go to the shop and you'll definitely hear like the same songs like a lot. Like when Kevin's playing something. If you listen to my shit, you probably won't hear the same song more than fucking 2 times. Like,
But
you know what I mean? Because it's like I've found other new songs that are like, I'm like, yo, these are dope.
if I was listening to both of your playlists, whose would more likely have ABBA in it? All right, I'll stop.
Definitely Gerard's, but yeah, like you're really on this ABBA train right now.
I can't stop now. Yeah, I got very specific and I was like, bands. It has to be bands, not groups, not rappers.
Do bands make you dance?
So like bands have to have a lot like actual instruments. Like probably none of the music I listen to has an actual fucking instrument in it. It's all computer generated.
Yo, ZZ Top.
Ooh.
ZZ Top. I mean, man, if you want to go to 80s, yeah, I like tons of 80s. OMD. Okay, so OMD, ABBA. Shit, I like U2.
Hey, what's your favorite U2 song? What's your favorite U2 song?
I don't know, man, but it's like probably a really slow and super depressing one. I'll tell you what my favorite OMD song is, though. Souvenir.
Okay.
So there's that.
OMDB. Who is it? Oh, who is the band?
OMD. Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark.
Oof, I don't know who that is.
They have a song called Enola Gay, and it's about the plane that dropped the bomb in Japan. And it's like pretty funny because it's actually like a super like happy kind of like dope song. When we used to go to 80s night back at Shine, like religiously, like that would be my song. Like that song would come on and I'd be super stoked. I don't know.
Tell me all about your bands, Ryan.
Oof, come on, I might have forgotten. So because now I got so worked up.
You've been thinking about it for a week, man.
I know. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band.
So just the E Street Band then.
Yeah,
he's part of the band.
No, he's not part of the band. Like they're the band.
Oh yeah. And well, right. Anyway, Bruce Springsteen, I don't know. That's more of a New Jersey thing. That's just an American thing, isn't it? I don't know.
I mean, I used to listen to a bunch of those hair bands like Platinum Blonde, like definitely Platinum Blonde, and Def Leppard. I love to listen to some Def Leppard.
Yo, Def Leppard.
That's super Saskatchewan is what that is.
That's Manitoba, dude. I lived in Manitoba, so
yeah. Who did they sing Pour Some Sugar on Me?
Yeah, I think that was Def Leppard.
Yeah. When I was in university, which was still like in the 2000s, Saskatchewan still played that song in the bar. Like it was like not
that's,
like
dude, that's Summer of '69 and that stupid goddamn Journey song. They, they just play it all the time. Everyone like screams, runs to the dance floor, and you're just sitting there looking around like, where
What's
the hell am I?
Beastie Boys.
Because when that happens, you want to leave.
Yeah, Beastie Boys are great.
Is that
Beastie
a band?
Boys. I grew up on Beastie Boys.
Stop getting after me.
Hey, first record I ever had, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. I love rock and roll. And then it was only 2 songs. It was I Love Rock and Roll. Flip side was Crimson and Clover. That was like my first record ever. And I was like, I played on repeat. So yeah.
That sounds like a really good band. See, and rock and roll is full of bands. So I only named one. The National. I like The National.
Who the fuck is that?
Isn't that like a news program?
Yeah, man.
This just in. No, yeah. It's like
this just in. Your band name sucks.
Yeah. I like Gaslight Anthem. I like. Turns out I got. If Block Party only made 1.5 albums, I'd put them on there because Silent Alarm is like one of the greatest albums ever made. Arcade Fire is really good. I really like the Arcade Fire.
You're speaking French over here, bud.
I know, man. I got another one. Depeche Mode. I listened to a ton of Depeche Mode when I was younger.
Yeah,
and they always had the best remixes because back in the day they were already an electronic band, and then they would have like these crazy fucked up remixes that were like that would pound. And I was like, yo, this is cool because it's like that was before dubstep, before all the like crazy super electronic like Aphex Twin and all that other stuff that like was after. But yeah, back in the day, Depeche Mode was pretty cool. Anyways, you're saying something about what? All these weird Arcade Fire, man? Really?
You don't know who? Do you know who?
I know who Arcade Fire is. Yeah.
All right. Okay. You don't. They're great. I've seen them in concert twice. They're amazing.
Duran.
What's their what? How would you describe Arcade Fire?
Ooh, how would you describe
Besides terrible?
Fire? Well, don't be crazy. David Bowie liked them, and David Bowie was the thing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just listening way more than 5 here now, bro.
Yeah, we got you going, and you can't stop. You're like, I can't name 5, but I can name 20.
And I guess I'm gonna have to say Nirvana, man, because like when I was young, Nirvana was a thing. I loved it when it was new. It was like rad, and then it got super weird. And then of course Korn and Deftones.
Yeah, there's a lot of Korn and like Deftones, like 9 Inch Nails. Yeah. And then I started. I started listening to like Nas and like Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, Wu-Tang's good.
Yeah. See, look, I didn't name any of the hip hop stuff that I like, but yeah, no. Look,
you probably should, because people think you're fucking a hick right now.
Because I like indie rock.
Because you like.
Is that what those bands are?
What is it? The
bands?
The news,
the National,
or what's
the National? You've never even listened to the National. The National's amazing.
The Nashville.
Ooh, the Nashville. I mean, look, I do like
my first
old
CD
country music.
Was Garth Brooks CD.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, I grew up on country music.
Yeah, you and I have this. This is one of the things I think that when we were editing the first Drift Gala video, we like kind of bonded over that, where it was like, because I said something about the Traveling Wilburys and the Highwaymen. You and I talked about the Highwaymen, which like arguably, that's a band, and that's got to be one of the objectively one of the greatest bands ever assembled. Them and the Traveling Wilburys, but like they're not in my top 5.
What about George Clinton in the Funk Parliament?
Ooh, yeah. I'm not like crazy about funk music, but I get it. Anyway, that was bands.
No love.
Anyway,
Millie, bro.
Yo,
that's
the rain.
That's a sad story. It ends
Marky
very
Mark and
sadly.
the Funky Bunch.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
He went on to do some things, hey?
He did want to do some things.
You know what's really funny, Gerard, is that you could have copped out of doing this question because the first part was if you didn't skateboard or do BMX, which you are like crazy into BMX, like that was your thing when you were younger. You could have that could have been your cop. You could have been like, I don't have to answer this because like I really like BMX.
I didn't really feel like that was the question though, but
yeah, but he could have, but instead he shit on the question.
And I also did play in a band. So.
What was your band name?
Was it a metal
National
band?
Can't remember. I mean, it was definitely it wasn't, okay, let's just get this straight. It wasn't like a band. We didn't play anywhere. We just like went to my buddy's downstairs and jammed and screamed into a microphone and played like, really heavy, crazy music as loud as we possibly could. And then I got
in a metal band.
You were in a metal band.
Pretty much.
You BMX and we're in a metal band.
Yeah, there you go.
Shit.
And then DJ'd. So, yeah.
Did you sing?
I mean, you can call it singing. I don't know. It wasn't singing. That's for damn sure. But it was screaming.
Oh,
I mean, we were like 15, 16. So like everything was just like, fuck this. And like I hate this. And I don't even know what we listened to back then, man.
Elvis?
No. It's crazy German band. Hold on.
Oh, the one that sings 99 Luftballons. 99.
There was crazy music back then, man. Pungent Stench, Skinny Puppy.
I like how you made fun of the National. I'm supposed to be like in awe of these names. All right.
No, you shouldn't be. I mean, these are just weird.
Yo,
crazy,
Mouse Rat.
Solid.
Mouse Rat.
I think why I liked this question though is because it was like a lot of people feel like there's a few ways to get to cars or drifting. It's like either you BMX'd or skateboarded or you did this. And that's not my story. I don't listen to metal music and I didn't BMX or skateboard. But when I was 12, I fell in love with import cars and that's been that. So like that's why I like the question, is because it's like also Gerard's answers probably don't meet a lot of the like typical answers that you would hear from a car guy. So I kind of like when you get to not adhere to stereotypes. That's why I enjoyed that question. But yeah, we can keep just naming bands.
You weren't into any extreme sports?
I played rugby in high school for a bit, but that's not an extreme sport, you know. Like
Kevin was in.
It feels like that just leads to drinking.
When here we are.
And Kevin was into.
I used to rollerblade,
Mm-hmm.
like quite a lot. Definitely like lived at the skate park for good 10 years of my life. Yeah.
Yeah, rollerblading.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And
do you guys call it rollerblading or inline?
I mean,
inline
I
skating.
don't know. Like back then, I probably like didn't want to call it rollerblading or something.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. I was wondering what you did call it.
Yeah.
Not fruit booting though, right?
I mean, I would call it fruit booting. I had like a shirt that said I'm a fruit booter because I just was like if you're just gonna like think that like calling me a fruit booter is gonna like make me cry or something, like like it's
and you haven't met Kevin.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely not gonna work. Like I'm just gonna straight up do it for you, and then like you're not gonna have anything.
Yeah. No, I didn't do. I don't know. I went to fine arts school. I don't know. I wasn't like I was.
I don't think there's any like prerequisite to getting into cars, like other than like getting a car.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like.
I feel like drifting though is a genre that usually comes from those things, whereas racing is not, and certainly not autocross.
I don't know if that just like it feels like that just. I know what you mean, and like I do totally see all the parallels of like why they all align together. I just wonder if it's just like people from like our like age or like generation, if you will. They're just not into the such a structured like way of having fun that is like.
I mean, I disagree. There are definitely people in our like friend groups or people that we associate with that don't drift and are mainly into circuit racing and or autocrossing. And
but they're
to be honest, most of those guys that I know were never into BMXing or skating either.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that if you went to a drift event, you're going to see a lot more people that are into BMX than if you went to like a road race event. There's going to be way more like accountants.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean.
It's more like a white collar like motorsport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, plus, like you said, man, the rules and the like the classes and no, not for me.
Yeah.
Like I just want to build a sick car and go shred. Like that's like the most, you know what I mean? That's like basically like you're going to a skate park, but with your car and like your friends. I think that's really why drifting is so popular in that realm or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like freestyle, you know, just like you can come at it from any different approach and still be doing the same thing as all these other people. Whereas like
exactly.
Like if you're like, oh hey, like I'm gonna get a Citroen CT like 2CV and like put like a Jay-Z in it and do all this other stuff. It's like, well, now you're racing against like a Bugatti or like what, you know? It's like, well, I just wanted to do something interesting, like and like go out and drive with other people who are doing something interesting. Yeah, exactly. You know.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I get it. It's all about the driving in those that type of racing, like spec racing and stuff, and like. Oh, it's so heated, and it comes down to like the tenths of the second. I'm just like have no interest because the cars are so fucking lame. Like as to progress as a driver, I fully understand that that's like cool. I just have zero interest in those type of cars. It's like a Mazda spec racing. No.
I feel like those people fully care much more about the driving than the car or the building because like. That's the least amount of
build. Really.
Well, I mean, there's a small build. Like you got to put the cage in and the seat and the safety devices and the battery kill and you're gonna get your tires and you're gonna strip it or whatever. Like there's there is a build, but it's not like a ever constant and like changing ridiculous build like we're so accustomed to.
Yeah, you can't take like car A and engine B and like suspension C and like some stupid wheels off a VIP car and put it together and be like, yeah, that's fucking cool. let's go drift it now, or let's go race it now, right?
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like what you're talking about, because it's more by the book when you have build that car, right? There's probably like a literal book that you have to follow.
It is a literal book.
Yeah.
It's called a rule book.
Yeah. And then I guess we don't have that in our, well, there is aspects of drifting that have that, but
I mean, that's why I think that's what made grassroots so popular, is because like in like upper level drifting, there are rules, and there's like tire classes and weight classes, and whatever it may be, there are still rules, how loose or how open they are. But like in grassroots, it's like there literally are probably 2 rules, and it's like that's just safety stuff, man. Like, does your car stop? Yes. Does it have some sort of like fire extinguisher? Yes. Okay, you're good. Like,
is the battery tied down?
Yeah.
Like,
maybe.
Do you have all the lug nuts that your vehicle was supposed to come with?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yes.
Also,
like
maybe
common sense building. Right?
All right.
But yeah, honestly, that's
questions?
like when you're at that grassroots level too. It's like to make the jump to the next level of is so crazy. It's all of a sudden like you need a certified seat and a certified harness and a roll cage, and you need the fire suit and the boots,
fire suppression.
You need a fire suppression. Your helmet needs to be legal. Like, that's an entire car build almost in just safety equipment.
It's extremely expensive.
So like that, I think, has like led to like the grassroots continuing. Like, people, that was the only choice for a while, and now people have come back to be like, no, I just want to build a car to have fun. And when you can just build a car to have fun, like, you can build anything.
I mean, one of the things about grassroots too is like there's the people that couldn't do it, or like, there's the half-ass people, right? Like, yeah, you can, like, for us, like, we think of a build more like, like, it has to look sick and it has to do this. There are people in grassroots and like same type of like thing where they're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go take this like super shitty BMW and like yank all the windows and interior and shit out of it and like not even lower it and just like go drifting. And like, I guess theoretically that's still acceptable too, because it's like no rules, you know what I mean? But like, I guess realistically we actually have rules, but like they're just our own.
They're unspoken rules.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, maybe I think we were there at one point, like, I drifted a Corolla with completely stock suspension. Like, at the end of the day, that suspension, like the top hat literally ripped out and the strut flared around, like it rolled my front fender and completely destroyed the car basically. But like, I didn't start out driving a sick car. Like, I got there eventually, but yeah,
I mean, my first Cressida had different colored fenders and like raw rear fenders, and it had sick wheels though. That's like a requirement for me. I don't think I ever once drifted it on any sort of stock wheel.
All right.
All right.
This can bring us to our next question, because we started talking about drifting at the track and starting out. All right. So Sudoku Slayer, that's a fun name.
That's a crazy name. Yeah.
Yeah. Said, hey, Ryan. Well, he wished us a happy new year, which is nice. So from Toronto, I have a question that I'd like to ask the podcast. If you guys had 10 plus K, now hang on, we've kind of answered this a little bit before, but enough time has passed. I think it's fun to come back to it. So if you guys had 10K plus and were to consider getting into drifting, like I am right now, what would you do? A, buy an IS300 manual / auto and 1J swap it. B, buy a decent beat up 8.6 BRZ. He said, and then I heard that you guys might be making parts for the ZN6.
Yeah,
that's that car. Yeah.
And would like to hear your opinions on that suggestion. And bias considering everything from practical and seat time. Beyond them, G35s, 350Zs, 370Zs don't tickle his fancy. So let's first, because it's been a while since we've asked this question, and I feel like the landscape has actually changed quite a bit since we answered this. So if you had a little over 10K to buy a drift car, what would you buy?
I mean, I don't really know that you're gonna get a BRZ for a little over 10K. I feel that they're still hovering like right there. And then if all you get is the stock BRZ, like I don't know. I honestly I don't have a lot of experience with the BRZ, so that could be one of those cars that is very fun and teaches you how to drive and that sort of thing. But it's not super exciting for other people to watch or be a part of, if you will. But that's maybe not really what you're out there for. You're just trying to learn. I'd honestly say, yeah, maybe then the BRZ, like, because also like a manual JZ swap. Well, I mean the IS, unless if you're just gonna buy a 2J manual IS and go at it, I would say you're better off with that.
With the IS?
Yeah, with a manual 2J NA IS, just like
What would you buy if I gave
I feel
you
like
if
I mean,
I gave you 10K, what would you buy?
well, I buy the BRZ because I already have the IS.
Yeah. But then you would never drift it, I feel like. You would be like, oh, I'll drift the Crown or the Altezza. Or if you didn't have any of those cars, what would you buy? If you were starting from scratch and I gave you 10K.
I just feel like if you get the like NA2J manual IS, you have more growing room, you know? But I mean, yeah, you can make anything crazy if you want. Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't have enough driving FRS experience, so.
Right.
Between those two cars or between?
No, well, I want to know one. You can say between those two cars, but then I also want to know what you would buy if you had the option. Like,
Y'all already know what I'd buy. Come on, I don't even need to say
it. Say it one more time. Whisper it into the microphone.
G35. Or I mean, if you can get a 350Z, I think you can get a 350Z for under 10K for sure.
I heard prices of 350Zs are going up now.
I mean, everything's going up.
Everything's going up, man.
To the moon.
I mean, even Gs are expensive right now. Like we were looking for a G for Danny, and like I couldn't find anything under 5K, let alone a 6-speed for $4,000 or 35 that they used to be.
Yeah. Maybe those bottomed out and they're going up.
But here locally here, you can get a G37 sedan or at least a 35 HR sedan for under 10K.
Is that what you would get?
I mean, if I could get that, that's what I'd get. Yeah, I'd get a 6-speed sedan with the 35, like the late model. So I'd have a 35 HR motor, which would be, yeah, those are good. Or I'd just get a basic ass G35, like 06, 05, 06 or whatever, like the higher horsepower one, and then spend the rest of the money on mods.
Yeah. Now, if you had to choose between the ones that he gave us, what would you choose?
I think I'd probably choose the IS because A, it's a Toyota. I know that the BRZ or whatever the FRS is still supposed to be a Toyota, but I mean I feel like when Toyota kind of like started doing all this weird
it's more of a Toyota than the
Supra,
the IS, bro.
Oh, why? Because that Lexus.
Yeah, bro.
Okay. But yeah, I feel like when Toyota started doing all this weird collaboration shit, it's like really like you want me to believe this is a Toyota and it's got some like boxer engine? No thanks. Like, yeah, I might just be like a snob to the ZN chassis. I'm sure it's great to drive, but like, what does it have? Like 160 horsepower, and like I guess you can turbo it. They kind of look pretty cool when they're done up. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the IS chassis / whatever, but like I feel like you would get one cheaper and have more money to like make it decent. And I mean, it makes 200 horse. I think if you got it and like do all that stuff, 200 horse isn't bad. Plus you can turbo the existing engine that came in there and it's like pretty decent. But yeah, I don't know, man. Honestly, between those two cars, it's a tough decision. I bet you the FRS is an infinitely better handling chassis to start with and potentially infinitely better, once modded. I just can't really get down the boxer engine.
Yeah.
All right.
So, sounds like we're on the same page.
Go on. Sorry.
No. I'm over it.
No,
And
I
also
don't
like
want
I'm not
to.
really into coupes and stuff. It's like I feel like it's that same thing. Like you spend, I don't know, let's call it $7,000. $7,000 gets you what looks like half a car and 2 fucking seats. Whereas if you spend $7,000 on the IS, you get like 3/4 of a car and 4 doors and 5 seats. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
So
if I had no other cars and I was coming at this from my perspective, what I would buy for that. Oh, it's such a dumb answer, but it's fine. I would buy the IS 250 with the manual transmission in it.
Are those in the price range?
Yeah, I saw one listed for 10K on Facebook Marketplace.
I feel like a while back when I was selling the Aristo, that like they were like, I found them for like 6, 7.
Yeah.
But I'm sure those are gone these days.
I mean, it doesn't have a great amount of power and it probably wouldn't drift that much, but I don't drift that much. And then like I'd want to like the car that I have, and that would be my pick.
Yeah.
But the G37 crossed my mind because spending too much time with Gerard.
E46.
See, I didn't even go.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like when we started talking about those 2 choices, quote unquote, I was just like, I wouldn't buy either of those. I'd buy BMW because like I think the BMW in a driftable form is probably still cheaper than a G, because you could probably buy an E46, you know, with like with one of those inline 6 engines for probably 3 or 4 grand versus the G, which would be like 5 to 8 grand or whatever, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, but the heart wants what the heart wants, you know. Like that's the thing, is on paper all of those things make sense, but it's like if you don't feel any which way about it, you don't want to buy it and then put money into it, unless you just want to drift, and then I get it, I guess. But between those 2 cars, the IS and the FRS, BRS or BRZ or whatever, I would maybe take the BRZ, but that's me. I don't have any really good reason for it other than it's newer and I haven't driven a newer car before.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot newer.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge advantage too, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like a pretty capable car-ish out of the box. It's probably not a lot of fun for everyone else out there, but you probably learn a decent amount. There's a lot of aftermarket support for it. And I feel like to get an IS 300, you may or may not, like if you're not Kevin or Gerard, you may be like biting off a lot with that car to be like modding it to make it be like competitive. I don't know. Whereas like out of the box,
I mean, it feels like this day, to be competitive, any car has to have everything done. Like,
yeah. I don't even mean competitive, I guess. I just mean like fun-ish, maybe.
Fun-ish,
like, yeah. Like,
I mean, the suspension on the BRZ is newer, more modern. It's designed to be more sporting, and it's not worn out by 20 years. So it probably, you know, you probably need to do less to it, yes, than this Lexus sedan that's 30 years old.
But if you're like Kevin and you drove a G35 and it didn't
tickle your fancy,
it didn't tickle your fancy, then like, you get the car that like excite. I could never imagine buying a car that I wouldn't want to put money into, you know, like that would be a very weird feeling.
Yeah.
And I think there's that thing where it's like, if I bought a BMW, I'd probably just look at it a lot and be like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't know if I need to do a lot to this.
So because
it doesn't excite me.
Here's a perfect example. G35, it's a coupe, 2004, $7,500. It's a track pack, so it has Brembos, factory LSD, 6-speed, some coilovers, plenum spacer, intake, tuned on up rev, 280 at the wheels, $7,500. Like that's a car. That's like a fully capable car for like much less than 10K. It's got exhaust, has a aftermarket clutch, like Nismo lip, like It's pretty cool car. Yeah, I'd probably take that. The coupes are cheaper, I find, and they're easier to find in 6-speed. Like that's a good ass price, man. $7,500.
Yo, is that
Snap
green
it
one?
up.
No, it's Kevin Kasusi's car. It's blue. Yeah, it has like factory like 19s or whatever those are, or are those 18s? I don't know. Yeah, I mean it's a rebuild title. You know, it's got like lights on. You know, the clear coat's peeling.
I mean, if you're just trying to like drift, though, yeah.
Yeah, and also it's 7,500. So I mean, like for the rest of your money, you can buy a car angle kit for $400 and fix the paint or wrap it, or who cares? I feel like between those two cars, like out of the box, you have this one, you have the BRZ, and you have the IS. That's definitely the most capable. And I feel like balance-wise, the BRZ or whatever is obviously better than the IS. But I feel like, I don't know, man. The IS is just cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree the IS is cooler, but then I would want the Altezza before the IS, I think. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
You ever driven an Altezza, bro?
No.
The best thing about the Altezza is the weight. Like the best thing about the Altezza is the fact that it's an Altezza. It weighs like under 3,000 pounds versus the IS, which weighs well over 3,000 pounds.
Doesn't the beams and the 2J make the 2J NA and the beams make like pretty much the same amount of horsepower?
Yeah, but like vastly more torque and usable power.
Yeah, and they're not even that. The beams isn't that much lighter, surprisingly.
Oh, really?
Because it's a cast iron block.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cast iron block. That's why it's not. So it's no SR, bro.
No, and it's underwhelming in that car.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for sure. It's like literally just enough, you know, or like just under just enough, you know.
Right. I've never driven an NA2J either, so I don't know. You know, the guy, he doesn't know. He's just got a big old Aristo, and that's what he thinks about.
I was just gonna say I've driven 2 NA2Js, 2 with the stock. Is it W58?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then one with the CD, and it's like it's better with the CD, but it's with the CD. I would say it's better than the Altezza, and with the W58, it feels comparable. Just because like I like the 6-speed J160. You know, is a small light transmission that like works with that motor, but yeah.
Okay, I think that question's done.
Yeah, we beat.
Yeah, you did it.
We have beaten that one.
Yeah, you did it. You advanced to the next level. How exciting! Level up. All right. What do we got? Okay. Ant, A-N-T, sent us a question. Said, "Hey Ryan, I got a question for the podcast for all of you that I think would really help me out a lot. I like that we've become like one of those like where you write in, it's kind of like self-help things, which is really great.
Yeah, I'm down with that. I like that too.
Sex with Sue or whatever it's called.
Well, I was like thinking of like what is it, like Dear Abby or whatever. What the hell?
Yeah.
But Gerard wants to give sex advice.
No, don't you remember that old lady like showing out?
Yeah. Sue Johansson. Yeah.
Sex with Sue.
It says, thought it was a Sunday night sex show. Anyway, okay, here we go. So basically, I'm boosting. I'm boosting my JZS 147 and learning to tune standalone with the car once I finally get it running. And I'm planning on pursuing tuning high power motors like 2Js as my career. To keep it short, the question is, what are some things you learned along the way, or rather tips or advice as to turning your passion into occupation, or someone starting out trying to make money in such a niche and specific part of the automotive performance world? Even how you grew in the company and in the car scene. Did everyone welcome you with open arms at first, or did you have to prove yourself to a degree? Even Ryan, how you turned media into a job, which I did not, and the transition from taking pictures for free to making money. I had no, which I don't let you know when I do that. And then I would love to hear all of your thoughts doing it for so long Not an old joke, but maybe a little. Thanks. So
there's a lot of question there.
There is. I guess I think to boil it down, maybe the question is there
how to turn your passion?
Yeah, which is like that's a whole episode, and I feel like we've kind of talked about like
wasn't that the last episode?
Yeah, that was that. And that's fine. So how do you turn your passion? But I think the more important, one of the interesting parts of the question
do people give you shit?
Yeah. And hang on, before we do that, to turn your passion into an occupation, I think one of the things, I'll just Cole's note the episode, which was Kevin and Gerard went through a ton of shit before they got to where they are. Like they had to slug it out for years. And it's one of those things where it's like it feels like a big sacrifice. Is that fair to say, you guys?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't an easy road to pursue what you wanted to do. So you had to be persistent and stick to it. Now, when you started out, did you catch some shit?
I would say, yeah. I mean, there's always going to be people who don't like what you're doing. Maybe they do like what you're doing, but don't like how you're doing it. Maybe they like what you're doing and how you're doing it, but they just don't like you. Or for some reason, you've said something or done something and they have taken it against themselves, and now they have a vendetta against you. And no matter what you do or say in the future, it's never going to change their opinion of you. And you just gotta live with it, or not care, or and I would say to someone that was young and starting out as well, like if that's what you want to do, then you just have to try and learn every single thing you can about that. But also that doesn't mean that you know everything, I
was gonna say that's the part I was gonna say.
Yeah.
There's always somebody smarter than you.
Yeah. And a huge, and if you can admit that or realize that, then you're going to learn a lot more. If you can be like, wow, like if I just shut up and like listen to what this person is saying, I might learn something. If you can recognize that, like when you should be doing that, like that will help you. Because there's a lot of times there's a lot of times where someone like could be, trying to impart some wisdom on you, and you're just waiting for your opportunity to talk back to them, to prove how much you know to them, and you're not learning,
Listen to you, eh?
Okay, he's got it. I was gonna say, and then sometimes there can be a person that just doesn't like you, and then they message.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff. It's just like really hard to kind of like maybe whatever. Just do your best. Surround yourself with people that like know way more than you, which honestly I probably should have done many times over. But I always thought I was the smartest motherfucker in the room. So like that's the hugest mistake ever. So yeah, just basically hang out with like dudes that already do that. Hang out with dudes that are successful, and yeah, just be humble and learn. That's it. I mean, I don't know. And listen to the last episode.
No, I agree. I think being humble is a big part of that. Try to be nice. Know your value at some point. That's something that's important to know.
that was going to be one of my points as well.
Yeah.
Know your value.
Yeah, because eventually I think a lot of people who, when they first start out, they'll just undercut.
Do shit for free.
Exactly. They'll undercut themselves a lot, or do shit for free because they don't think they're worth it, or or they're like, I can't charge that because I'm only this person. I'm not a professional, and it's like, well, the person's coming to you to get the work done.
But also don't start out and think that you're like worth a ton either, right? Like
that's the balance, right?
I've seen people pick up cameras and be like, hey, I do like photo shoots for X amount of dollars, and it's like your photos at this point aren't worth that price.
What does ISO mean? $800.
Yeah. Here we go.
The other thing I was gonna say, I mean, it's 2022, man. YouTube the shit out of anything. Like, you could literally YouTube how to get rich. You could literally YouTube how to tune a car. You could YouTube how to network your business. You could, I mean, anything, man. Google, YouTube.
This is the part of the podcast where Gerard gets people to turn it off and go to YouTube. I don't need this podcast. I'll just YouTube it.
Well, they're listening on YouTube, bro.
Or Spotify.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they're one of the
Apple,
the 150 people who are listening on YouTube.
Oh, good. Or Apple Music or SoundCloud. All right, but I was going to say, yeah, I know I didn't really talk about it, but
okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna know my value.
But you don't make any money with your photos, bro. So
yeah, but when Dotalogic started out, yeah, I get paid in steering wheels, which is fine by me. I can live with that. When we started Dotalogic, it was really interesting. People where I'm from, Regina, Saskatchewan, there was a lot of people that hated it and like talked shit. And I found there was a thing. It was like as soon as you draw a line in the sand, and because we kind of like drew a line in the sand, and then we're doing photos and making media, and we had relatively cool cars of the time. It was like a lot of egos got involved, and people kind of had that mindset of like, what gives you the right to be the ones to say that or to do this? And it was like it wasn't a huge uphill battle, but it was a pretty big uphill battle to win people over. And then when we started doing like car meets is when people started like not more or less, but they really bought into it. They're like, oh yeah, I see the value in it because you're giving me something. Like I benefit from this now. And then, we would had fairly popular cars on the website from around North America, and that kind of won people over. And I always felt I had this like theory where it was people don't care about what you're doing unless you're in their backyard or cooler than them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So it was like if I was doing something for someone, then they cared because I was like in their realm. Or if I was doing something cooler than they were doing, then they cared. But yeah, I think starting out, I think the point of this is when you start out, the nature of the car scene, much like what Kevin said, people are going to be mad. Someone's going to think that they can do it better or different. They're going to have opinions on how it should be done. And I think there's some value in like sometimes listening to people's criticisms, but there's probably also a skill set that you'll build up over time to like understand not everybody's criticisms are always valid, but you're going to have to like kind of figure out who to listen to and who not to listen to, which definitely speaks to Gerard's point, which is maybe make sure you're not always the smartest person in the room, because then you're going to learn more. Good. Also, he's got a 147, which I think is really cool. So
yeah, no, that is sweet. It does sound like it's a GS, and he's trying to turbo it.
Yeah, he sent me a photo, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like those cars. They're cool.
I really like those cars too.
Yeah, that was what I originally wanted, like a manual 2JN, but not anymore. That ship has sailed. All right.
I was gonna say I also like those cars because I actually had an Aristo. Yeah. Single turbo Aristo 147. Pretty sick.
About it on a podcast. Okay. So that was Ant. So thanks for that question. All right. We'll do this one. This one will be funny. So our friend Rare Spec Wheels wrote in for the first time with a question. And he said, you can ask G, Kev, and then I can answer myself. So he gave me an order. I go last. So that's fun. This is more of an individual opinion thing. I'm very excited.
Wheels?
No, I'm very excited to see how you guys will react to this question.
Okay.
At what point does the cost of fuel become unbearable to continue with your current lifestyle, drifting or spirited driving, and makes you switch to a more efficient option, hybrid or even electric? Current average price is $1.69 a liter. I don't know what that turns. Oh, fuck! He wrote it for me in gallons as well.
That's
$6.40 per U.S. gallon. Man, I love
that. If you drive a peasant car, yeah. It
is. So he wants to know, and he said I could reword the question, but I'm not going to because I like that. So what is Is there a point? What's the point that makes you rethink the car that you have, the lifestyle that you keep with the cars that you have, price of fuel?
If we didn't have SerialNine, we certainly wouldn't be driving these cars. I'll tell you that right now. We're sure as fuck wouldn't be driving a QX56 that gets 11 miles per gallon. That's for sure.
Wouldn't you though? Like, when you have $120,000 a year job and it wouldn't really matter, and like, you could just do it. You'd have the money to do whatever you want, you know.
You do raise a good point.
That was last week's question. Would you rather kind of struggle and be able to do what you love every day, or have the money to do what you love but not have the time to do it?
Yeah. But there's that.
I'm honestly like, okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, I want you to go.
I was just gonna say, like, I feel like both of us have been the type that it's just like, I don't know, like, whatever the gas is, the price is, it is. It's like, you know, like we talked about this. We're not gonna like wait 2 hours to get gas at 20 cents cheaper.
Yeah, I'm not getting gas at Costco for
whatever the price the gas is when I need the gas is the price that the gas is, and that's what I got to pay for it. You know, it's like almost like when you got to exchange money, and they're like, all right, is this rate good enough? And you're like, well, it sort of is what it is, and I need to exchange the money, so sure. You know.
I was just gonna say, on the way back from Final Bout, I was at the airport and I wanted to get June a present. Have I ever told you this story?
Yeah, you got her the hat.
Yeah, and the lady, so I was trying to buy her a Cubs hat. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll buy it. And she like tells me the price, and then is like, are you sure you want, like, you're okay with that price? I'm like, can you give it to me for cheaper? And she's like, no. I'm like, why are we having this conversation? I brought it to the till. I'm dumb. I need to buy it. Like, let's just get it over with. But
yeah,
you can't negotiate.
I feel like what Kevin said is sort of right. Although, I do think you're basically right. Like, you know, gas is gas, and we need gas to do these things. But I am definitely way more cognizant / like I feel shitty about it than I think Kevin is. Like, I definitely, I'm always like, yo, like this vehicle gets better fuel economy. And like, even in my JZ, I like want to tune it to get the best fuel economy and all this other crap. And I'm always watching the fuel economy. And I know the mileage I get per tank all the time and stuff like that, whether it matters or not. I mean, for me, it's kind of like, well, is the engine tuned properly? Is there something wrong with it? But like, as long as I'm getting the maximum fuel economy that I possibly can in the vehicle that I actually like to drive, then that's cool. But yeah, I don't like the price of gas, but like, I mean, the price do about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the amount we've spent on gas in the last 3 years, it's been like very consistent. It hasn't really gone up, so I don't really know what that means. Like,
yeah,
I mean, you know, I feel like I don't drive as much as you, so like maybe that's why you feel so conscious about fuel economy.
Also, the QX has to be worse on fuel than any of Kevin's cars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah. I mean, also Kevin drove an Echo for a very long time, like as a daily.
Well, I mean, like when I had when I was commuting 50K a day from Vancouver to Langley, and I had a Cressida, and I was like the only one in my Cressida every day. I was like, yo, I feel like a bit of a piece of shit. So I bought the Esteem, and the Esteem was like my economy car, which doubled the fuel economy of the Cressida. And it was like, you know, a pretty cool car. That's kind of why, like, when I'm moving to my new place, I got like a pretty savage commute. I was like, well, shit, I'm going to buy like a Suzuki Swift or something. Because obviously, main reason is because I think they're sick and I want another car. But B is like, it probably uses half the fuel of my JZ.
I had a moment like a week and a half ago where I was driving the 4Runner, and I was just like,
I'm sure sitting there like guzzling gas in your auto V6 4Runner, you're not really having a great time.
Exactly.
Though, you know?
No, I mean, that's the thing with the Pajero. Like when I had the Pajero, like I loved that vehicle. It was great, but like it was pretty bad on fuel, and it wasn't like an exciting power plant. So like it was a big factor into the reason why I got rid of it, because I wanted that truck for so long. And then I was like, yeah, I'll try a gas one, because like it was, you know, direct injection is supposed to be good on fuel. it made adequate power and all that stuff, but it was just like not fun to drive, and it used a ton of fuel. So I was like, kind of fuck you. And then when I got the QX, it uses even more fuel, but it's like 5 times funner to drive. So I guess it makes it worth it. It's miles per gallon.
Yeah, it's more fun. Sorry. My brother listens to this podcast, so he may or may not like this because I think he's driving it right now. But when my dad visited, my dad has a Prius that he doesn't drive anymore. And he was kind of like appalled with how much I was spending on gas. He was kind of like, oh, you're like,
your dad was?
More. Yeah, he's like, there's like a Prius sitting in Saskatchewan that you can just like waiting for you to come get it, essentially. And I was driving the other day and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I don't off-road. Like I like the 4Runner, but yeah, it's not an exciting vehicle. And I like kind of pitched the idea. I was like, maybe we should get the Prius. And then Jody got a little bit peeved for some reason. I didn't really understand why, but yeah, I was like, so I feel like I get closer and closer all the time to the 4Runner, being like, maybe this isn't the vehicle that I need right now. Like that, maybe that isn't like for the amount of driving that I do to all these different places around like the Lower Mainland, it doesn't really make sense to be putting, I put a half a
not making use of the abilities
and
of the
also
vehicle that you have.
Yeah.
Also, 4Runner is not like terribly spacious, like compared to like other SUVs of, that would be more fuel efficient. Like I swear you could probably fit the same amount of shit in a RAV4 and have twice the fuel economy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I got to drive a RAV4. No, I'm joking. I feel like that was I've gotten closer and closer to it, and it's not because of the price of fuel. It's just the fuel economy of the car doesn't, and like if I get rid of that, I still have the Aristo that I drive for fun. So it's not the worst thing, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the point is. I don't know what the breaking point is, but I feel like I'm getting very close to saying no diced.
The Prius is chill. Could be chill.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. My point would be like, I have enough money to buy the electric vehicle or hybrid vehicle that I want that would give me the same excitement and enjoyment out of driving, then I would switch. But like
Rivian.
a Tesla Model 3 versus my Blit, no thank you. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. I don't know many other cars, but also like, yeah, there's a huge price. Like, yeah, when does the switch happen? When $50,000 is not a big deal. You know what I mean?
Or you're spending how much would you have to spend on gas a year though?
Yeah.
Because like at how many what happens when you're spending $10,000 on gas a year yourself? Yeah. Then does the $50,000 car justify itself?
Yeah.
Because
that's the huge argument in Australia for the Y62 Patrol, which is basically my truck, versus the Land Cruiser diesel. They're like, yeah, like the Land Cruiser diesel is a great vehicle, but it's like $30,000 more than the Patrol, and the Patrol's faster, tows more, and all that shit. And it's like, and they're like, yeah, but it's terrible on fuel. But like, you have a $30,000 difference before, you know what I mean, worth of fuel to make up that difference of the more fuel efficient Land Cruiser. So it's like, it's a pretty, there's always that debate too, right?
I mean, it's also tough because 4Runner prices,
but like also gas right now is $6 a gallon in Sydney.
Yeah, but how much is diesel?
Yeah, I don't know.
And they did fuel economy tests, and like, yeah, just because it's diesel, like it's actually not that much more fuel efficient.
Yeah, because now the diesels are super regulated to be environmentally efficient enough.
Yeah, they're just dirty. They're fucking,
Yeah,
and they're loud and they're smelly, whatever, right? Like there are a lot of whatever differences besides the fact that one's more fuel efficient than the other one. But yeah, I mean, that's our answer.
So what is the exact? We don't have one until it's.
I feel like it's a formula. Everything's a formula. Like, how many cars do you want? Like, I want as many cars as my landlord will let me have.
Yeah.
It's not a number. It's a formula.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I want that Rivian or whatever. Like, I might replace my QX with a Rivian, but like, until something else comes along that seats 7 people, goes 0 to 60 in 6 seconds or less and can off-road, probably not going to replace my truck with anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit there and pump a bunch of premium fuel into it and drive around.
Put a tune on it, put some headers on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And let her
get some miles per gallon.
Complain about the drop in miles per gallon I get.
Yeah.
Put some 35s on it.
Yeah, exactly.
The problem,
let's just put 37s.
The problem with the price of fuel is that we watch it go up and down and then up and up and up and then down. Like it's such like a gradual thing that, it's that analogy of being like you're in the lobster or whatever, and like the pot of like cold water that boils, or the frog or whatever. So it like stays in the pot while it's boiling. Have you ever heard that analogy? No? Yeah.
I mean, I can infer.
Yeah. Dude,
it just.
I'll do it. Here, let me do it. So there's a pot of boiling water, and you put the frog in the pot of boiling water, and the frog hops out because the water is really hot. You put regular room temperature water, you put the frog in, the frog stays, you turn on the burner, and it gradually heats up, and the frog stays in it until it cooks. Because it's such a gradual change that it doesn't know that it doesn't notice that it. Yeah, but it is. You're French. You like eating frogs.
Yeah, frog legs.
Isn't your last name Benoit?
Yeah, but that guy.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that guy.
I'm Di Peralta, and you're Benoit. So I mean, between the two of us, we should be eating frogs all day long.
We got frogs.
I feel like
I don't care what that French.
I feel like
I don't care what that French
up my name too.
Says, that guy told me.
Yeah, you're right. It's gradual change. Gas is expensive.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know.
So you should go to Costco and get it. It's cheaper.
Like I said, I feel like I'm close, but I'm not quite there, but we'll see. All right. This is the best part.
What's it to you? Like, oh, you already said you're like, oh, like the Prius is like, I'm considering it. And okay.
Yeah, the Prius.
There are other vehicles. You could just get another vehicle that isn't the absolute worst.
Yeah.
So I gave Dustin the Echo, and the other day he was just like, yo, man, like this thing is so crazy on gas. I was like, yeah, I know. He's like, I filled it up twice, like in 2 months since you've given it to me. I was just like, yeah, man, like it's hilarious. Like, because he also fixed the wheel bearing. Like the entire time I was driving it, like the wheel bearing was like destroying itself, like which obviously is not helping with the efficiency. And I was still getting like easily over 550 a tank every time. Like,
yeah, and it's like a 40-liter tank.
Yeah, it's like ridiculous.
My thing was, my dad was like, I'll just give you a Prius.
No brainer.
Give it to me, bro.
No.
Well, if you're not taking
you have enough things in your life.
Man. That's 5x114. I'll put 18s on that thing. It'll be good to go. Dump it. Better fuel efficiency.
I mean, the price of 4Runners now compared to when I bought 4Runners is weird. So like I'd be making money on a 4Runner.
50 grand.
Yeah. I saw somebody selling like the same thing as mine for like 13,000, and I was like, what the fuck? But whatever.
That's not.
You basically just got paid to drive your car.
Yeah, I got paid to drive this car around. All right. So here's the moment, and we're gonna try to do this. I'm gonna play Matt's question. Motorcycle Matt.
It's mustache, isn't it?
Here, this one's Motorcycle Matt.
Hello, SerialNine and Doo Logic. You guys asked for vocalized questions on your last podcast, and I love hearing my own voice. So here we are. So the scenario is, you've been working in your garage for 8 hours. You're working on your car, right? You ordered a bunch of pizza around dinner time, but it's like late into the evening, and now you're hungry again. Your hands, they're covered in dirt, grease, blood, possibly feces, because you're a Neanderthal and you're not wearing gloves. You want to eat some pizza, but the bathroom, it's all the way inside the house, and you're lazy. You grab a can of brake clean, spray down your hands, because you're a man, and you do man things. The mild stinging of the brake clean as it washes over your wounds is a painful reminder of that rusty nut you just busted. You convince yourself the brake clean has antiseptic and antibacterial properties as you wipe your hands down on that beautifully plush towel you stole from your girlfriend. You walk over to the pizza box, grab a slice and sink your teeth into that delicious, soft but somehow crunchy, salty delight, marveling at the 8 hours of work you've put into this piece of shit car that has resulted in
The best part is I still have no clue what the question could be.
I know.
Could be
You
anything.
decide to scroll through Marketplace while you enjoy a break from
Now
being
what?
horizontal on the ground. A project car appears. You check the details, and it looks like a good buy. You contact the seller, set up a meeting for tomorrow. Then you look up
What do you
your
eat for
screen,
breakfast?
the parts,
No.
the tools, and the puddles of various fluids on the ground, both vehicular and human. And you think to yourself, man, what the fuck am I doing with my life? So anyways, my question is it okay to use brake clean to wash your hands? You guys are too cool for that now. You guys are too good, right? Serial9, oh, we blew up. We got actual soap. And okay,
We got
remember,
whole episodes on soap.
you guys asked for this. Don't put it on me. All right, love you guys.
You have to play that exact whole thing.
I mean, obviously.
No, I mean,
I
like
feel-
with us listening and everything.
Yeah, I feel like it has to include the laughing.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll do it.
I mean, like the audio quality of that was good. It was like an audible like book.
Sex chat with Matt.
All right.
I've never used. I think I might have used brake clean to clean my hands. Like, fuck, I could count it on two hands, man. I don't really like using brake clean to clean my hands. I never really did, whether I was a peasant or not.
I've definitely used brake clean. I feel like I used it this week.
It just fucks your hands right up, man.
Like,
It makes it
yeah,
so dry.
I mean, like, yeah, it's like when your hands are super dirty, and it's that exact scenario where it's just like, well, like, I just need to get like this ridiculousness off, and then like in 10 minutes, I'm still gonna go wash my hands with like regular soap, and that'll
Because
wash
he
off.
did say the bathroom was all the way inside. The bathroom was where you wash your hands. I thought he was saying something like, "Oh, you gotta take a shit or you gotta go pee or something." But like, yeah, you gotta wash your hands, so you don't want to go inside.
I probably just wouldn't do the brake clean. I'd just eat it with the black fingers. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. I would probably just wipe
especially
it.
pizza, because the pizza, that's what it's made for, and then you just don't eat the crust. You know, like
Yeah,
like if
I
it was a
would-
burger, I'd still eat it with the black hands, but like
No,
then
at
you're
the end.
fully eating the bun where you put your fingers on it. Whereas the pizza, you could just not eat the crust.
I would just wipe as best I could with the towel and then eat it. I wouldn't even fuck with the brake clean at all. I just
Yeah, I wouldn't break
wipe
my
the
hands.
excess grease off and eat. That's what I would do.
Yeah,
That's our answer.
because we are Neanderthals.
I'd go inside and wash my hands, but what do I know?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if I have any other questions for us. I was very excited. I told Matt I
That was
wouldn't listen to it until you guys heard it as well.
Is that was the first time you heard it?
Yeah, I asked him, I'm like, do you want me to listen to it beforehand or no? And he's like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, no, I want to hear it the same time they hear it.
Yeah.
So that was the
That was
important
so
part. Oh,
So-
boy.
I have something to talk about real quick.
Oh, God.
Talk
Go
about
on.
sex, baby.
It's not
Don't
what
worry.
you think, Ryan. Fuck
Let's
you.
talk about you.
No.
Talk about all the things.
So the Blit, I've complained about it a lot. I said, okay, you know what? Fuck this car. Fuck this Toyota shit.
Finally for
Like-
sale.
No, it's not. So I put a different deck in it. I had a stock deck, or not a stock deck. I had an aftermarket deck. It was in Eclipse. It was older. No Bluetooth, whatever. It worked. I used it with like an adapter for my phone. Wasn't super happy about it. Whatever. Anyways, that fucking kind of broke, or I kind of smashed it. So then I bought this other head unit.
Yeah, we all
One of
saw
these-
the story.
Semantics.
Yeah.
Yeah. It broke. I broke it. Fit of rage. Go on.
Things happened.
Whatever. Yeah. So I put a different head unit. It's one of these Chinese, like super duper 10-inch screen Android things. So that improved it a bit. I got that, the bride seat. What is it? A Brix 2. So I got a Brix 2. And then did some drivability tuning with Paulo with standalone. And I got to say, the car is, I want to say, 75% more enjoyable now with those mods. The mid-range
75% more?
Yeah, man. It's fucking a different car completely.
Shit.
I hated the stock seats. I hated them. So the seat is a huge deal. In any car, the seat is a huge deal. So like finally get a seat in it, nice and low. The deck's pretty good. It actually sounds better than the previous Eclipse deck did. So that's cool. And I have YouTube in the car and all that stuff, which I never really gave a shit about before, but like I do have it. It's sort of cool. But yeah, like having that mid-range power and the torque and everything, I feel like it's more than it was stock, because these cars stock, like right out of the box, they're really torquey and they're really like I don't know what responsive, but like they're really torquey and they're really like punchy in the mid-range and stuff and the low end. That was the whole VVTi thing. But once you start modding them, they kind of lose a bit of that low and mid-range, and then they gain a bit more on top, and then you do the 6-speed, and then you got to do the AT emulator or whatever, right? And then so I had a standalone on it. We did the wide open throttle tuning, and it was like, probably faster than stock, made a little bit more horsepower than stock, but I completely lost low mid-range because we didn't spend any time at all tuning it. We just did it in the middle of the night, and it was like for the gala or whatever. But yeah, so Paulo flashed the ECU just the other day, and man, I was like, yo, what the fuck did you do? Because this car is like completely different to drive. Like first gear, I mean, it is a bit wet these days and I got snow tires on it, but first gear, like you cannot get on the throttle at all in first gear. Second gear, same thing. Like anything over 20% just lights up the tires. So I'm like, yo, this thing is like so enjoyable to drive. Like, and yeah, so anyways, just need the steering and stuff now, and it's going to be fun. So, and also I did some drifting in it in the snow, so that like, got a bit more accustomed to the chassis and handling. But yeah, I do like the car now a bit more.
Sick.
So that's my thing.
Enough to drive it at final bout.
I mean, if that's the car I'm driving, that's the car I'm driving. But like, I really, really don't want to smash up that car. That's my street car. I don't want to be fixing it. Like I really don't want to be fixing that car. But like to put a JZ together in that other car, I'd have to work on it a lot in order to get it done.
What about a K series?
In what?
In the Stadia.
No. Fuck no.
Just put it in for final.
I mean, I love Hondas and everything, and I love
to put it in for final.
I don't know fucking 4-cylinder turbo bullshit. No thanks. I take a V8 or a turbo 6.
I mean, you already got the JZ. It's just sitting there doing.
I know
nothing.
exactly. I just gotta put it in and
collecting dust.
Yeah, it sure is collecting dust. Should be collecting money.
Then you're certainly not fucking drifting to final bout.
All right, guys. So thanks for writing in with your questions. Big shout out to Matt for the voice note. That was fun.
That was
cool.
Thanks to everyone for their questions. We always appreciate those, so keep those coming. And then we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Serial Podcast 9.